it's to the point where Your Honor, you should recuse yourself from the presiding at this point. If you're not going to abide by the oath that you swore, which was in your oath, correct? You swore to protect the Constitution of the United States. You swore to protect we the people. That is not being done here.
It's funny because Darrell Brooks Jr. in my mind feels like he is we the people. We're all we the people, but he feels like he is we the people. He feels like we the people is him. And if the judge does not rule favorably on his objections or his submissions of evidence, then she therefore is doing wrong by we the people. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Everything Else Channel on YouTube, everythingelschannel.com. If at any point in time you like this video, smash that like button. Please also subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications so you won't miss a single video, and leave a comment down below. This is mind-boggling, to quote a Darrellism, and that is, he really feels that by the judge not ruling favorably on any of his motions or allowing in the evidence, like the two photos, for example, which were completely, A, not from Erica, B, were not presented correctly to the court, C, were probably sent in by you-know-who. But it's just mind-boggling that he thinks that just because the judge does not rule in favor of him, that she's doing wrong by we the people. He doesn't factor in the fact that she's doing right by the state of Wisconsin or the human race, by the fact that she's doing right by the victims and the survivors and their loved ones, by the community of Waukesha. He doesn't recognize any of that as we the people. We the people is only Darrell Brooks Jr., and if she's not doing right by Darrell Brooks Jr., therefore she's not doing right by we the people, and she needs to recuse herself. Find me a judge that's going to do right by me. That's his perceptive. And the thing is, that perceptive is totally wrong. Totally wrong, so warped that you're left wondering, is this guy for real? I mean, I wish that, the fact that I feel stumped right now, the fact that I'm actually physically having trouble come out with something to say, I wish that was an act. I really do. I wish that was an act. But then, it's not. And that's why this trial is as intriguing to so many of us, but at the same time makes our blood boil. And we're like, you know what? We're not going to watch that anymore. Not going to watch it anymore. Enough of that guy. He's never seen the light of day. You just kind of like sign it off to that. But then you're like left wondering, why should I deprive myself of something to say? You know what I mean? So I'm just going to say it, and I say it in comments. I leave comments on videos as well. And I do videos because you guys send me in these clips. And sometimes, like I said, the other day over at Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, we did the mailbag live where I read actual comments out. And, if a person's going to spend, I don't know how long it takes, because here's the deal. Some people will leave a 3, 4, 5 paragraph long comment. Now, it's not just the time it takes to write that, because you got to conceptualize it, think about it, flesh it out, So it's not just, like copying 5 paragraphs. It's coming up with 5 paragraphs from scratch, and then you're like, you edit it, you proof it, and you're like, did I really need to say that or this or that? And sometimes, like in the little text box, it doesn't give you enough space. So you might copy it and put it on a Word document and just like kind of sift through it, make sure. And at that point now, it's like, you're so invested that you want to make sure that you say exactly what it is you're thinking, And so there, someone's going to leave me something that's probably taken at the minimum 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I may not respond to that in a comment. That might inspire me to come out and make a video. And so when I did the mailbag live, I read, I think like 10 or 12. I just wanted to read 8, but then I found myself reading more because, again, you want to do right by your subscribers and the people that leave these really, really good comments. But some people were making insights and had perspectives of things that I never even thought about. And so that's what I'm saying. This trial has that dynamic. And, when you're dealing with somebody, see, because like OJ never spoke, right? The Beretta guy, I don't think he testified either. This woman that starved her child up there in Michigan is someone I think that, but the thing with her though, I mean, she's just an evil, but that's like a whole, and we may talk about her at some point, but that's just so, and then the poor son that was also like a victim as well, the older son that she basically manipulated, That's a horrible case. But, you know, that woman there she was like, and she's not insane, but she's just like a horrible person. You know, and clearly there's something wrong with her, clearly. But she didn't, you know, what Darrell Brooks Jr. did, the way that he acted with the judge, with the jurors, the people that were there to decide his fate. I mean, people say, well, he didn't, you know, attack the jurors. Well, he may not have attacked them directly, except for the one that he thought that had flipped him off. But by his actions, making them get up and leave all the time, not be able to come to the courtroom, you know, that stresses out a jury. On top of that, them having to see these theatrics of his, these stare downs, you know, it was a weird strategy on his behalf, or maybe he was just so out of control he couldn't control. I don't know. But the reality of the matter, though, is that his antics were unlike anything we've ever seen. And the fact that, you know, whether you want to say the judge let him get away with it, or you just want to say she was frustrated, whatever you want to say, that combination where the judge at times was like a little bit frustrated with him, and then you had Sue Opper, who was just a lioness, and then you had Darrell. It was an interesting dynamic, and you had some witnesses, and I don't mean to discount the other two prosecutors. You know, the one I always forget. I love her, you know, but I just, her name for some reason, Basie, and then Zach Wichow. They were amazing. They were amazing. But it was the dynamic between Darrell and Opper, Darrell and Doro, and Darrell and Opper. That was the dynamic. But there were some witnesses that honestly were disgusted by him, or they just rejected him, and they wouldn't look at him, or they would answer him back, or some police officers would look at the jury, the one that he really couldn't stand that, because, you know, it's all about Darrell Brooks Jr., just like at the beginning of this clip. You know, when the judge didn't rule for him, she was doing wrong by we the people. It didn't matter if she was doing right by Wisconsin and Waukesha, those that died, and the victims and the survivors. Because he wasn't doing right by Darrell Brooks Jr., she was doing wrong by we the people, even though she was doing right by all of those others. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show you that the level of narcissism, he wouldn't be, you know, he couldn't sit still when the officer wouldn't look at him when he answered. When the officer would look at the jury, he couldn't take that. And even after he was told, listen, you got to stop bringing that up, he could not help himself. He could not help himself. And that's why when Sue Opper said, you sit down and be quiet, you have no power here, he couldn't put up with that either. But it's just interesting that his concept of we the people is him. He is we the people. And not like, you know, you're we the people and I'm we the people. Not in that sense. That's a patriotic sense. That's a common good, you know, a greater community sense. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying I'm we the people. He's not saying you're we the people. He's saying he is we the people. And that's it. There's a period there. Not a comma, not a semicolon, a period. Darrell Brooks Jr. is the people. Period. That's it. Or Darrell Brooks Jr. is we the people. Period. That's it. You know what I mean? And that is just mind-boggling. To quote a Darrellism, that's mind-boggling. What say you?